for joining us. How is this all being seen in China? Well, Kerry Allen is China media analyst from BBC Monitoring. She's with me now. Well, we've seen the reaction from sort of state newspapers. When do you think this will start? In terms of the response?
The response, I mean, it could be 24 hours. I mean, one thing that's striking today is a lot of newspapers that would traditionally cover something like this. It's not front page news. There's a real emphasis more on events. I mean, one paper particularly, People's Daily, which is the mouthpiece of the communist government, it has an overseas edition that goes out to Hong Kong. And rather than mentioning anything that's going on, what it's got on the front cover is an almost defiant picture of people arranged in a certain way. So they make out the words "I love Hong Kong," and it says 22 years old, happy birthday. But yeah, other papers that would normally mention this, Reference News and Global Times, they've not focused whatsoever. It's mainly to do with Sino-US trade. And then in Hong Kong, what we've seen, very, very different messages. So pro-Beijing papers such as Ta Kung Pao and Wen Weipo, they've got on the front covers these pictures of, you know, the violence, and they're really kind of, you know, very strong headlines talking about violence, even using the word evil to describe protesters.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you look at the chief executives, because Carrie Lam, deeply unpopular in Hong Kong as well. How do the Chinese deal with her now? 3 of her predecessors failed to complete their full terms and had to go. What is being said about that?
Well, one thing that was very striking about the press conference she gave at 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday is, you know, listening to it, the language was so in line with what the Communist Party... It was almost like she was talking up to the Beijing government rather than talking to the people. So a lot of the language she was using... I mean, the press conference today, this is being shared by CCTV. It's being reported by China's leading broadcaster. So people have been seeing this press conference, and literally the message that she condemns the violence and she doesn't want violence in Hong Kong.
It's worth pointing out also that these are the biggest demonstrations really since President Xi came to power back in, 2012 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at their peak, halfway through June, there was records of something like 2 million people turning out. That's about 1 in 4 people taking to the street. And it's very likely that because this extradition bill is still, you know, it's not clear whether it's going to be cancelled or not, there's the possibility that even more people may take, you know, they may take to the streets in the coming weeks.
Okay, Kerry Allen, thank you very much indeed.